to Jacket Talk on LEB TV.
What's up, everyone? I'm Scout, and this is my co-host Levi. Today, we're going to recap this past week in Lebanon winter sports.
All right, Jacket Nation. Let's talk about some epic wins this week. Starting with our wrestling team. It was alumni night at the Fieldhouse, and it went great.
Yeah, we had Camdenton, Central, and Hillcrest in town, and our guys just dominated. Lebanon crushed Hillcrest 66-18, and then made Central look like they were wrestling blindfolded with a 70-6 win. But the cherry on top, we blanked Camdenton 73-0. If you're not proud to be a Yellow Jacket right now, check your pulse.
Moving to girls wrestling. It took 4 at the Nixa tournament, which was not an easy feat with 24 schools competing. Shout out to our champs, Lacey Melanson, Jessica Joyner, and Sophia Quinn, all taking first place in their categories. Lacey was also nominated as our Athlete of the Week.
And let's not forget our speech and debate team, who rocked it at Bolivar. They finished 5th out of 25 teams in the sweepstakes. Emma Johnson, Lily Carlson, Evan McSwirly, Core Tapp, James Perrygo, Blake Shellhorn, Adelaide Barker, and Light Monroe. You guys are awesome. You made us proud with all those placements.
Now let's switch to basketball. The girls' team went to Eldon and came back with a solid 63-53 win. They're gearing up for the pink and white tournament over the break. Meanwhile, our freshmen and JV boys are on fire. Overtime wins against Camdenton and Bolivar for JV. And the freshmen beat Bolivar. The varsity is playing their hearts out. Those wins are going to come, just a matter of time. They'll be at the blue and gold tournament over the break as well.
Let's send it over to Kevin at Buzzcuts for first semester activities recap with Coach Christian. Take it away, Kevin.
My name is Jaisha Connor, owner and nurse practitioner here at Ginger Wellness. I believe that sometimes healthcare does too much, and I believe that's where wellness centers can really bridge that gap and really give people some confidence in natural ways, healthier ways, to really improve quality of life and to get healthy.
We want to feel better and live better lives. It's not about quantity, it's a lot about quality of your life.
Ginger Wellness is where I went to get my quality of life back.
Welcome to Buzzcuts in downtown Lebanon. It is Jacket Talk Overtime on Jacket Nation Sports and LEB TV, brought to you by Mid-Missouri Bank, Ginger Wellness, also by Mercy, and Jacket Nation Sports. Coach C with us. This is our final show prior to the Christmas holiday season. Coach, thanks for stopping in this morning and talking overall athletics at Lebanon High School for the fall semester. What was participation like this year, and especially compared to the recent past as far as the numbers of student athletes out to take part in the activities?
Yeah, I think, if you look at just the data by itself, a slight increase. We took a dip post-COVID. I think that was a national thing, obviously not just a Lebanon thing. There is a gradual climb, but I don't know that it's at the point it was pre-COVID yet. So there's still a journey to navigate through. I also will tell you that, culturally, within all activities, it's different right now. And a lot of that has to do with just a plethora of things for young people to do. I think there's just a lot more choices than what they were, when you were going through high school, when I was going through high school, and even 10 years ago. And the more choices that you have, the more opportunities, and then the more potential avenues. And so, I think that is a plausible reason for some of the overall activities decline. I think part of it, too, is the entertainment piece. I've talked about that on your show before, with the fact that activities, what their purpose is, potentially the perception of that is different in 2024 than it was in even 1994, meaning a lot of people viewed activities as an extension of the classroom with a plethora of life lessons that can be taught. And the kid involved in something where potentially, they're not out getting in trouble, right? And nowadays, I feel that it's proven that activities are more viewed as something fun to do, which they are, and they should be to an extent, but that's their purpose. And the reality is that if that is the purpose, entertainment, fun only, then the ones that are getting that particular aspect fulfilled are the only ones that are really going to do it. And of course, that comes in playing time. That comes in maybe success in a statistical category, or you're going to ask me about honors later. Those kinds of, all of those plethora of different things are the driver, instead of the driver being the fact that, hey, I got to work really hard and this is going to make me better in the workforce someday. And so I think that drives some of the society decline in activities. So I went on a long, you gave me an avenue. You know how I can just ramble, right?
I like it when you go there.
And so it's something that, being in this business 28 years, it's changed a lot. And I think as coaches, as administrators, as teachers, you got to adapt. We have to adapt. We have to find new ways to get them in the door and then keep them. And I certainly don't have all those ways, or I'd have a good book out right now and you'd have me on the show about my book and we could talk about my bank account. We don't want to talk about my bank account on this show today, Kevin. And so, it's one of those things. We're trying to figure it out. And it's kind of like, I like this analogy. I heard this recently, but it's like we're on the plane while we're building it. We're flying it while we're building it. And that's what it feels like, because there's an expectation right now for all activities. And yet it's such a changing world and market that it's challenging to get this thing addressed. Ultimately what I tell coaches all the time as I attempt to mentor them is it all begins with relationships. We have to establish, and not only relationships with our athletes, but even extend it on into their family, their parents, and trying to get a situation where there's that sense of ownership and involvement that tie them in tighter, and in hopes that you keep them.
One thing that has been a battle in the past and is now and will continue to be is kind of the perception that you're playing sports while in school, but you're trying to tie extracurriculars into the entire academic/education part of things right now.
Yeah, without question. And every single season I have to do a board review. And with that, it's all positive, but a part of that is data of how the athletes' GPA, and not just athletes, activities folks, band, choir, speech and debate, drama, those folks versus the ones that are engaged in nothing, and their attendance in school. And statistically, and it's not just in Lebanon, it's a national thing, people that are engaged in extracurricular activities do better. So you've got that part. And then not only is that piece important from the standpoint of accountability from whatever they're a part of and the leadership of that group, but then you also have the fact that, kids that have those peer groups, they're typically, their experience is more positive. So they want to be there. And when you want to be someplace, you often do better. Then the last part, which to me is most important, and that is the fact that all the coaches should be charged with, number one, developing the person, not just the competitor, but the person. And in order to do that, there is a whole set and gamut of character education that's necessary to make them better people for life, which you can't always learn in class. No offense to our great teachers. Our great teachers do an incredible job of teaching very important stuff. But on the football field, as an example, some of the things that we're going to teach and push and have our players get better at, help them to be more mentally tough. They help them to be better teammates. They help them to be selfless. I could list 50 words that you cannot learn in the classroom which you must have in life in order to be successful. That's why it's an extension of the classroom.
You have two of your flock in college currently. You're going to have three eventually, I know. Maybe one's going to graduate, and that'll be down to two again for you. But time management and attendance, those are things that you just highlighted that are crucial when it comes to athletics, that certainly will be translated over into the real life world.
Without question, and two things that college kids learn quick. You know, I think the high school setting in all of America is designed to make sure that the kids get to the finish line. The college setting, a lot of times, it's sink or swim. You got to show up. You got to turn everything in on time. You got to meet deadlines. You got to meet guidelines. Because to me, in college, there's that scoreboard's on more so, like it is in football. You know, in football, if we don't meet a standard, we're going to get our tail kicked. And it's going to say it on that scoreboard, you know, and everybody's going to know it. So, you know, and that's life. And college is that. The workforce is that. That's the real world. And I tell our kids a lot of times that, you know, sometimes in the football program, we're not going to hold your hand because it isn't going to be held here in a short amount of time. In a short amount of time, people aren't going to feel sorry for you. They're not going to care. You got to find a way to get it done. And that's just the way it is. And I know that that's hard to wrap our head around, but it's just it's the reality. And I think that the young people need to learn these things.
Coach Decker would probably be able to address this maybe a little bit more so, but I think what you would like to see is the carryover from the number standpoint from the middle school level to the high school level, and then retain going forward. That's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
It is. You know, and even from the youth up is important. I mean, I think each level, we've got to be real conscious in each of our activities of retaining. And, you know, I heard this from in talking with a college coach that was in my office and talking about, you know, how, you know, they have to recruit. And at the high school level right now, and you've corrected me on your show before, you know, we don't recruit outside. You know, right, Misha? However, it is constant recruitment inside. You got to re-recruit your roster every year because there's just so many things pulling on them to go in different directions, do different things. And so you constantly got to be re-recruiting. And that's all the way down. I mean, from the youth to the junior high and up, and definitely the junior high is pivotal. I think our junior high coaches and everything do a good job. I mean, I think they try hard. They have to create a structure, but then at the end of the day, I always tell, and Bob Shore told me this, and you know, and usually anything he said, I tried to write down in my brain. The number one purpose of your junior high staff is that the kid plays next year. It isn't that they, you know, necessarily learn how to tackle or block better. Those are important. It isn't necessarily that they learn the terminology. The most important number one thing on the list is that they play next year. Because if you don't have them, it makes it very challenging. And so we try to impart that on our coaches in the football program, and I know all the other programs do as well. That's number one. Now, with that being said, we can't have an undisciplined disaster at the middle school level, and we also, not everybody can play. You know, I mean, I think everybody needs to play some, but not everybody can play equal. I mean, that's just the reality. That's the reason why we do our youth football program the way we do, Kevin, because we stay internal, so we don't have to do one team and decide, you know, and have kids with inequitable playing time right from the get-go. Now, with even that being said, Jason's done such a great job. We've got so many kids right now with our multiple teams that playing time is an issue. We're going to have to even expand from that because ultimately at the youth level, we want them all playing as equitable as we can. So, you know, that they're developing and we're keeping them. But when you get into middle school, it's one team. So ultimately, that makes that challenging. Playing time isn't going to be totally equitable. And that is one factor right now that is a slippery slope in the world of high school activities. If I'm not getting to play, why do it? And and that's one of the things that, we have to tackle. We've got to figure out.
You showed me this chart before in your office, and you keep close track from a football standpoint of who has stayed within the program, grades 7 through 12, and kind of the success ratio follows that, doesn't it?
It does, and that's something that we're constantly looking at because we're constantly evaluating. I mean, because frankly, we're not meeting my standard. Maybe it's mine. I have a feeling, and I say mine, our staff, because they echo. And we're probably on par with a lot of schools in Class 5 in the state of Missouri if you were to rank it. But with us, we're wanting to improve this area. Not only, with kids that we get, let's say we plug them in, let's say starting with contact in third grade, but from third all the way up, I just feel like that our number is declining too much. And we're trying to figure that out. And the thing that's weird, I've said this on your show before, but if we had a circle of issues, and there's 7 points on there, some of them you take it away and it pops up 3 more. And one doesn't fix 5 others. So that's what's also making it very challenging. If it was just one thing, I've joked on here before, and maybe not joked, but if it was just me being a rear end, right? We could fix that, but there's not one center thing in any of our programs to all of a sudden explode our numbers. I wish there was, because I promise you we would address it. It's a plethora of things, and the key thing is to just keep trying, right, and try to mask some of them by that relationship piece. Because if I can establish a relationship and I can really also, this is pivotal, sell that why and sell that at home. If a parent if they genuinely feel like that what my kid is getting from this outweighs the win, loss, and playing time column, you got a chance to keep them. Now, obviously, that what they're getting from it has to be real, right? But if that is a reality, then I think you've got a real chance. But that's a tough sell. It is, because I'll be honest with you, not all are receptive, right, to that sell. But that's in my opinion right now the key part: relationship building, and then the sell, and then you go and any other advice, I'm all ears.
We're in the winter sports segment now, going back to the fall, and now as a member of the Central Ozark Conference, what was the protocol in selecting all conference performers in that league compared to the Ozark Conference?
Yes, similar in all of these different honors. I'm glad that you brought the process up because I think it's important people understand it. I don't, just get behind my computer and say, well, I think this guy's this and this guy's this. So each of the coaches in the Eastern Division of the COC met. We nominated our players. At Lebanon, we nominate a lot of our starters, all starters that we feel like have a legitimate statistical chance of earning the honor. Now, one thing that I will tell you in the COC, because there is 2 divisions and the divisions are smaller than a larger league, there's no honorable mention right now. And this is every sport. And that affected the number overall, for sure, of in the past. So once we've nominated our guys, and then we go and, myself, I talk about and sell our guys. And then the coaches vote. And we don't vote for our own player. So legitimately, when they receive an honor in the conference, they've gotten that from their opposition coaches and the respect that they have earned through that. And something else I tell our kids is not only obviously is the statistical piece important in that, it is, but also how they display themselves, on film and just, in overall character is important too. You don't want to, do something that's going to, tell a coach something negative about you from the other team, right? Because certainly that could impact a vote down the road. You never know.
Mhm.
So that's the process with all conference. And I think that, I'm never pleased with it because, well, one, to be honest with you, Kevin, it's such an ultimate team sport that no matter what, when any honor comes out, I work hard for our kids for it, but I hate it because ultimately somebody's going to be disappointed. Somebody that was really important to us, really important to our team. We have hardly any control over really those things, and yet they're going to be disappointed. Maybe their family's going to be disappointed, and it's life. But I hate honors because of that. I really, I'd be okay if they had none, and it was just about our team. And we would keep our mindset on that. But that's not the reality, and it never has been. That isn't something that 2024 can be blamed for. That's something that's been that way forever, and it is what it is. And all state, all area, all district, all that is the same. It's all the same format, nomination, and then I advocate, and then they get voted on. And so when they earn it, they really earned it. Because they're not being handed that by Coach Christian. They've had to earn it, and and we're obviously proud of all of them for it. And we've had some guys earn some big stuff, and then we've had some guys that I've been disappointed that I thought deserved more that they didn't get, and I'm sure they feel the same. And that's life.
Subjective process, but multiple avenues, as you cited, for recognition from the conference, from the coaches association, all district, the media votes also. So there's several different ways to get recognized.
Yeah, there is, and I think that's healthy. Just one, it's a different grouping of people. You look at the Eastern Division of the COC, we had Nixa in there. Whereas at the Southwest Missouri Football Coaches Association all area team, there's no Class 6 schools in that meeting. Not that the Class 5 grouping is easy. You know what I mean? It brought in a whole set of Western Division COC teams and some other groups that were very talented too. So it's all hard. If a kid got an honor from our team, that was a legitimate thing they should feel good about. And those that didn't shouldn't feel bad because there were a lot of kids and a lot of teams that didn't.
Yeah, Jack Glendenning, first team All State. That's a big star in his corner.
No doubt, and a no-brainer. And I don't say that and I said that at the All State Convention meeting when I talked about him. And he was the leading vote getter at the running back position, by the way, which is just phenomenal. But it's just a no-brainer. He was put up for Player of the Year as well. Obviously, oftentimes the state champion is going to garner that honor, and that's what happened, and that's not the wrong thing. But Jack's was on that ballot too, which says a lot. And tremendous career, tremendous season, and I'm so pumped for him for his next steps.
Mm-hmm. As far as work in the classroom, you had a large contingent of your football group receive academic recognition.
And one something that I haven't released yet is the COC All Academic. We'll release that as we get closer to our banquet, and we have a huge number on that too. We got a lot of kids, Kevin, that are paying the price in the classroom. And and there's a standard with that, like the All-State one that you saw recently. The Missouri Football Coaches Association standard is they must have a 3.5 cumulative GPA or higher. Then they have to meet one of two categories, either a 25-plus ACT score or top 20% of their graduating class in their class rank, which that makes that GPA go up. For your GPA to be a 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, you about got to have that 25 ACT. Otherwise, you got to have that higher GPA if you don't have the ACT to be in that top 20%. And that's a difficult thing to do. And those kids, people need to understand that, being a student athlete, and a lot of our guys are in multiple things. That's a challenge to be as good as they are in the classroom and excelling in other things.
As far as future football scheduling, there's some rumors in the air that there may be some scheduling availability within the COC to allow you to go outside the conference and play games, maybe starting like in 2026. Is that factual?
Well, I've got bad news on that, actually. I would say, I guess, for the folks that, are dreaming of the Camdenton-Lebanon matchup again. That recently went to the league athletic directors, and the league athletic directors pushed it on to the principals, and then at that point, that's where it stayed at this point. It does require a supermajority vote to move and be a bylaw change, and right now that's not a reality. Could it be down the road? Maybe. There's a lot of factors to it that I'm not going to get into each one because we could almost probably fill a whole show on some of that stuff. Ultimately, the thought process by the league is that we've got a very competitive, good league, and we don't need to go anywhere else. I mean, that's the sentiment of at least enough of the league. There was a push for this. From our perspective, for the folks to understand, I was in support of that proposal to allow us to play Camdenton again. However, that's not the direction, at least right now. Now, things are never final, but for the next 2-year cycle, we will be a full COC gamut, and then, of course, after that, who knows?
Mm-hmm. As far as signings, you do have several student athletes that committed during the course of the fall, and they're going to go and play at the next level. That's always gratifying, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, number one, I always tell our group that come and watch that it displays the fact that they excel in the classroom at a high level, and then that obviously they're good at what they do and they've worked hard to do it. And we've had a great group. I don't have that list in front of me, but obviously Jax is one. We had his ceremony early. Division II, you're going to see Harding release something in February, but we went ahead and did his ceremony early. And he is signed with Harding University. Addie Redmond earlier to Pitt State, which is tremendous. And I'm going to leave out others because I don't have that list in front of me. Mm-hmm. I posted about all of them when that event took place, but we've had a plethora of kids, and we'll have more. We'll have a signing ceremony in February. And I know we've got Chance Cromer that day that'll be signing for baseball. And
Washington University in St. Louis.
Yes, sir.
Got Bronson Rhodes and Braden LaMontagne going to Drury for baseball.
And a tremendous place to go play. And we've got another one in February right now. Alexis Hapner. Golf at Crowder is our other one that will be signing in February. And so we'll have some more young people that'll make those decisions, and just pumped for all of them. I know obviously my oldest son, Trevor, is a fifth-year senior at Drury. He is student teaching this next semester and finishing up his 5th year on the wrestling mat. And it's been a very positive experience for him. And anyone that wants to compete, they need to do it. It'll make them better.
Good wrestling last night on Tuesday at the Fieldhouse, Lebanon, with victories over Camberton, Hillcrest, and Central. So it's always good to have 3 matches there and programs, Central and Hillcrest with ties to Lebanon wrestling. So that was kind of neat.
Really fun night. Obviously, the rivalry with Camdenton and Lebanon. Anytime we can hook up in anything, it's great. And I know our Yellow Jacket Nation very excited about that victory. And super proud of Michael DeLangian and Clint Smith. Michael is the head wrestling coach at Central. Is doing a tremendous job. Works his tail off. Very, very bright young coach. Charismatic, great communicator. and is doing a tremendous job. Clint Smith, everybody knows Clint. Not only was Clint a great coach for us, but also a great wrestler here at Lebanon. Clint, he is a kid magnet, and he's already exploded the numbers at Hillcrest. Historic numbers already there. And I know Clint will do great things. And we've got a lot of great young coaches out there that do a great job from Lebanon. I could list, that'd be a great show, actually, to talk about all of them, maybe have some of them on. A guy like Justin Breedlove, who is the offensive coordinator at Stratford, who just finished, 10-1 or something, 10-2, 11-2, whatever season there. And we've got a lot of successful, great coaches out there and guys to be really proud of.
Mm-hmm. Lebanon basketball, Yellow Jackets will be in the blue and gold taking on Nixa the day after Christmas on the 26th at Great Southern Bank Arena. That will be an early 11 o'clock tip-off. And the Lady Yellow Jackets will be in the pink and white on the 27th at 2 o'clock at Drury against El Dorado Springs at the O'Reilly Family Event Center. So if you want to make a trip to Springfield and watch the Jackets in the blue and gold and pink and white, that's kind of a holiday season tradition, isn't it?
Man, it really is. I view it as you get an opportunity to eat more, and you get it all in because at the first of the year, you gotta do something with it, right? So a chance to eat out and watch some great basketball. And our two basketball teams are busting their tail. Folks, I just come out and watch them and support those kids. They work really hard. Our wrestlers, our swimmers, our winter sport activities have picked up the torch from the fall, and they're all really busting it, and we owe them all our support, and I'm just really proud of their efforts and what they do on a daily basis to represent our town.
Off-season football routine for the Yellow Jackets coming off your first year in the COC. Webb City, Republic, Nixa, they played in the state championship game, so we saw just how difficult that league is to navigate through, and I thought your football team did a good job, but I know you and the coaching staff are pushing for more, aren't you?
Yeah, we always are. We feel, we feel close, but close is that's also a bad feeling, and so how do we respond to that? Ultimately, strengthening the schedule was important, I believe, for us and really for all of our activities. I mean, let's face it, the reality, we have to beat them in postseason play. Most of our teams have them in districts, or you're going to see them in the first round. It's not like we're a Class 3 school having to play in a conference that maybe we shouldn't be in. We literally are in a conference full of teams that most of our schools have to play in districts. So we've got to figure it out. We've got to travel the road, and competition. I mean, you could research this over and over again, but upping your competition level is going to cause you to grow and rise. And that's where we're at. And in the football program specifically, that's where we're at. Every single week, what a grind, and it's going to cause us to be better coaches and better players. It's going to expose things that we got to get better. And one of the things that I think it's exposed right away is our intensity and some frequency in the weight room. And that's what we're right now hammering away on. You can't go through the motions, and complacency is what creates that. And no offense to the Ozark Conference, because it's not like we were winning the Ozark Conference for 30 straight years, right? I mean, that certainly not the case. But we were in the upper part for a while. That's fair. Long enough that we definitely, I felt like, created a little bit of complacency of that. That's where we're going to be. That's just where we're going to be. And that doesn't always correlate with an urgency that I need to work really, really hard. And so the COC has changed that. And now we're hammering away on figuring all that out because it's not necessarily easy. So that's where we're at. And I'm proud of our kids and our coaches and our parents as we travel this road. And it won't be easy, but there's no way to mask it. I tell our people all the time, and this is real. This is real. People win on purpose and they lose on purpose also. Which are we going to be? It stops there. I mean, it's not rocket science. I am not the sharpest crayon in the box. It is easy. You know, we either are going to work hard enough that we deserve to be in that spot, or we're not. And that's what we got to figure out.
Coach, appreciate you sticking around for a prolonged visit here on Jacket Talk Overtime. All the best to you and your family. Great holiday season. Merry Christmas. And we look forward to watching the Yellow Jackets in 2025. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. Merry Christmas to you and Ramsey and Swino and the crew. And we appreciate all that you're doing. I guarantee you this community does. This has been a great big hit. Of course, the Hall of Famer, you know, you're like a part of my family. Maybe Ramsey will be someday too. Who knows, right? But Kevin, we're kind of family, right?
We are.
Know? So, you know, just love you. And it's been appreciative. And I'm excited to continue to watch what you guys do throughout the course of the year.
Coach C joining us today on Jacket Talk Overtime, brought to you by Jacket Nation Sports, by Mercy, Ginger Wellness, and Mid-Missouri Bank. Going to take a couple of weeks off, be back in the new year with another edition of Jacket Talk Overtime. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you soon.
How much has your bank paid you? We've paid our Kasasa account holders more than $7 million since 2017. Open an account in minutes to get in on the earnings today.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Scout, got any wishes for Jacket Nation?
Absolutely, Levi. Here's to a holiday season filled with joy, laughter, and maybe a little less homework. Let's hope Santa brings us some wins too, right?
From Scout and myself, we want to wish everyone at Lebanon High School a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your break, stay safe, and let's make the new year even better for the Yellow Jackets. See you next year for a new Jacket Talk.
Go Jackets!
Welcome to Jacket Talk on LEB TV.